May 29th, 1453. Dawn claws its way over the Bosphorus, and Constantinople is already dying. For 53 days, Sultan Mehmed II has hammered these walls with everything the 15th century has to offer. A cannon called the Great Bombard, 27 feet long, firing stone balls weighing 1,200 pounds, has been grinding the ancient stonework to rubble, one shot every hour. Outside the walls, 80,000 Ottoman troops wait. Inside, Emperor Constantine XI has 7,000 defenders left. That's it. 7,000 men holding the last standing capital of the Roman Empire. The math is brutal. One defender for every 11 attackers. The walls are cracking. The harbors are blockaded. The supply ships stopped coming weeks ago. Constantine knows what happens when this city falls. 1,000 years of Christian civilization goes dark in a single night. But let's change one thing. Somewhere in those 7,000 defenders, a 12-man U.S. Army Special Forces ODA team appears. Fully loaded. Each operator carries night vision that pierces 300 meters of total darkness. Suppressors that cut a gunshot down to a whisper. Enough C4 to collapse a city gate in seconds. A single M320 grenade launcher that can drop a 40mm round through a window at 400 meters. And a combat medic carrying trauma gear that would look like miracles to a 15th century surgeon. 12 men against an empire. Now here's what makes this interesting. Special Forces ODAs aren't built to fight armies head-on. They're built to make armies fight themselves. They train foreign fighters, destroy infrastructure, create chaos behind enemy lines, and disappear before anyone knows they were there. They're not a battering ram, they're a scalpel. And right now, the Ottoman siege has exactly the kind of pressure points a scalpel is designed for. 3 critical vulnerabilities. The Great Bombard that's cracking the walls. The Ottoman command structure coordinating the final assault. And the land chain the Byzantines stretched across the Golden Horn to block the Ottoman fleet. Cut any one of these, and the siege stalls. Cut all 3, and Mehmed II has a very different night than he planned. So what actually happens when the most dangerous small unit in modern military history drops into the final hours of the Byzantine Empire? Can 12 men armed with 21st century weapons hold a city that history says cannot be saved? The answer might surprise you. If this kind of content is what you're here for, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it genuinely keeps this channel going. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. What historical battle do you want to see next? Now, let's talk about what these 12 men are actually up against. First, let's understand exactly what we just dropped into 1453. A 12-man Special Forces ODA carries enough firepower to start a small war. Standard kit, suppressed rifles, close-quarters carbines, grenade launchers. But 2 weapons matter most here. An M249 machine gun that spits 850 rounds per minute, enough to pin an entire Ottoman company behind cover and keep them there. And enough C4 to destroy the Great Bombard's barrel in 3 seconds flat. That last one matters, because the Great Bombard is the reason Constantinople is losing. Every hour on the hour, it fires. One shot. The ground shakes for 300 meters in every direction. Stone dust fills the air. And another section of the Theodosian Wall, built in 413 AD, never successfully breached from the land side in over 1,000 years, crumbles into rubble. The Byzantines have no answer for it. No counter-battery fire. No way to reach it. No way to stop it. Until now. But before the ODA can destroy it, they need to survive what's standing between them and that cannon. So let's talk about what 80,000 Ottoman troops actually looks like up close. Mehmed II hasn't just shown up with bodies. He's dragged the most sophisticated siege operation the medieval world has ever seen across the Balkans and planted it outside these walls. His army crushes inward in 3 distinct layers, and each one is harder to kill than the last. The first layer, 20,000 Bashi bazooks, irregular infantry, shock troops. Mehmed throws them at the walls first, not because he expects them to break through, but because he wants them to exhaust the defenders before the real assault begins. They die in waves, so better soldiers don't have to. The second layer, 40,000 Anatolian regulars, disciplined, experienced, veterans who fought from the Danube to the Euphrates. They seal the perimeter, lock the flanks. Nothing gets in or out of Constantinople without going through them. Then there's the third layer, the Janissaries, 12,000 of the most dangerous soldiers on earth in 1453. taken as boys from Christian families, raised inside the Ottoman military machine, trained for nothing but war from the moment they could walk. No families, no land, no loyalty except to the Sultan and the blade. They carry composite bows that punch steel-tipped arrows through chainmail at 200 meters. They fight in disciplined formations that don't break, don't hesitate, and don't stop. Mehmed didn't build an army, he built a machine, supporting all of it, 70 artillery pieces, a naval blockade of 126 ships strangling the Bosphorus, a supply chain stretching hundreds of miles back into Anatolia. Mehmed can feed and resupply his army for months. He can lose men by the thousands and replace them by morning. The ODA can't match those numbers. They can't hold 13 miles of wall, and they can't be in two places at once. But here's what 12 men can do that 80,000 can't. They can see in the dark. They can kill at 500 meters without a sound. And they can destroy in 3 seconds what Mehmed has spent 53 days building. 3 targets, 1 night. And if any one of them goes wrong, history plays out exactly the way it always did. Right now, one operator is already crawling through the darkness toward the Great Bombard. He's 40 meters away. He's carrying enough C4 to end the siege in 3 seconds. The question is whether he makes it back. 11:53 p.m. The city is dark. No torches on the walls. The ODA's first order to Constantine's commanders was simple: kill every light on the northern section. Darkness is the only equalizer they have. 4 operators slip out through a hidden postern gate in the Blackerneye wall. They move low and fast across 200 meters of no man's land, the killing ground between the walls and the Ottoman forward positions. The ground is churned mud, cracked stone, and the debris of 53 days of bombardment. They don't use flashlights. They don't need to. Through night vision, the battlefield glows green and sharp. The Ottoman camp stretches for miles. Thousands of campfires, tens of thousands of sleeping men, sentries pacing in slow, predictable patterns. The same routes, the same intervals, every 30 minutes like clockwork. The team's intelligence sergeant has been watching those patterns for 6 hours from the wall. He already knows exactly where the gaps are. The first target is 400 meters northeast of the gate. The Great Bombard sits on a massive wooden platform, surrounded by a crew of 60 artillery specialists and a guard detail of roughly 100 janissaries. It takes 2 hours to reload between shots. Right now, at 11:53, it fired 8 minutes ago. That means they have 1 hour and 52 minutes before it fires again. They need 20 minutes. The demolition sergeant moves ahead. He carries 2 blocks of C4, enough to split the Bombard's bronze barrel from breech to muzzle, and turn the most dangerous weapon at the siege into 4 tons of useless metal. The other 3 operators fan out in a perimeter, suppressors up, watching the janissary guards through their night vision scopes. Midnight. A sentry turns the wrong way. 1 suppressed shot. The sound doesn't carry 10 meters. The sentry folds quietly into the grass. Nobody notices. The team freezes for 30 seconds, listening, watching, counting. The other guards keep walking their routes. The camp stays asleep. They keep moving. 12:04 a.m. The demolition sergeant reaches the Bombard's platform. He presses both C4 charges against the barrel's thickest point, just forward of the powder chamber, where the bronze is nearly 8 inches thick. He sets a 60-second fuse, taps twice on his radio, the signal, and moves. The team is 40 meters away when the charges detonate. The explosion tears through the Ottoman camp like a thunderclap. The Bombard's barrel splits open, and the platform collapses inward, flinging burning timber across a 50-meter radius. The artillery crew never sees it coming. Janissary guards scramble in every direction, torches swinging wildly into the darkness, searching for an enemy that's already gone. The Great Bombard is silent. For the first time in 53 days, the walls stop shaking. Inside Constantinople, Constantine's exhausted defenders stare at each other in disbelief. Byzantine commanders on the wall watch the Ottoman camp erupt in chaos and confusion. For a moment, just a moment, it feels like the tide is turning. But here's where it gets complicated. Mehmed II isn't sleeping. He's been awake in his command tent, reviewing assault plans for the final push, scheduled at 2 a.m. The explosion reaches him in seconds. He steps outside, looks north at the burning platform, and doesn't panic. He adapts. Within 15 minutes, Mehmed sends runners to every sector commander. The assault timeline moves up. Instead of 2 a.m., The Janissaries will hit the Blackernai wall at 1:30. No bombardment, no softening, pure shock and mass. 80,000 men surging forward before whatever destroyed his cannon can destroy anything else. The ODA just lost 45 minutes. Target 2, the command post, 600 meters south. Without it, Mehmed's assault has no brain. 2 operators peel south while the other 2 sprint back toward the postern gate. The plan is clean. It made sense 6 hours ago when they drew it up on a scrap of Byzantine parchment. Then the drums start, low, rhythmic, rolling across the entire Ottoman line, from north to south. Not a warning signal, an assault signal. 1:30 a.m. The Janissaries are already moving. 12,000 elite soldiers rise from their positions and flow toward the Blackernai wall like a black tide swallowing the plain. No war cries, no torches, just the sound of boots on broken ground and the creak of scaling ladders carried forward in the dark. The 2 operators heading for the command post stop dead. Through their night vision, they see the Ottoman line shift, a vast, dark mass sliding forward across the plain. There's no time for target 2. The radio crackles. 3 words from the team leader. Get back, now. For the first 2 hours of the night, the plan worked perfectly. The Bombard is gone. The walls are intact. Constantine's men are still standing. But the Janissaries are 200 meters away and closing fast. And the ODA is still outside the walls. 1:26 a.m. 4 minutes before the Janissary assault hits the wall. The 2 operators outside the gate sprint hard across open ground. 200 meters of broken terrain in full kit. Behind them, 12,000 Janissaries advance in silence across the same plain, closing the distance at a steady march. The postern gate swings open. They're inside with 90 seconds to spare. The team leader is already on the radio to Giovanni Giustiniani, the Genoese mercenary captain holding the Blackernai section, the best military mind inside the city. The message is 4 words. They're coming. Blackernai, now. Giustiniani doesn't need convincing. His 600 Genoese crossbowmen are already moving to the wall. Byzantine regulars fill the gaps between them. Archers take positions on the upper battlements. The Blackernai section, 900 meters of single-wall fortification, the weakest point in the entire city, bristles with every defender Constantinople has left. 1:30 a.m. The Janissaries hit the wall. They come in 3 waves, exactly the way they've been trained since childhood. First wave, scaling parties carrying ladders and grappling hooks, moving fast and low under covering arrow fire. Second wave, axemen targeting the gate, heavy iron axes designed to chew through timber and iron fittings in under 3 minutes. Third wave, the main assault body, 12,000 strong, ready to pour through any breach the first 2 waves create. It's a system that has never failed Mehmed. Tonight it runs into something it has never encountered. The first operator sets up on the inner wall walk with his M249, angling down at 45 degrees toward the scaling parties below. 850 rounds per minute tear through the first Ottoman wave before a single ladder touches stone. The second operator switches to his M320 grenade launcher. 40mm rounds detonate in the middle of the axeman formation, each explosion scattering lethal fragments across a 12-meter radius. One round takes out 11 men. The next takes out 9. The gate holds. For the first 15 minutes, it works. The Janissaries are elite soldiers, but they're attacking in the dark against weapons that fire faster and hit harder than anything their commanders have ever seen. The first wave falls back. Sector commanders send runners to Mehmed. The assault is stalling. Casualties are heavy. Something on that wall is killing men at impossible speed. Then Mehmed does what great commanders do. He stops sending waves at the same point. Within 20 minutes of the assault beginning, Mehmed splits his Janissary force. 4,000 soldiers stay on the Blackernai section, not to break through, but to pin every defender there. The remaining 8,000 swing south along the wall toward the older Theodosian section, where the Byzantine garrison is thinner, and there are no green berets on the battlements. The team leader sees it happening through his night vision. The Ottoman mass is dividing, one column staying, one column sliding south in the darkness. He knows exactly what it means. They've been flanked. He makes the call in 3 seconds. 2 operators stay on the Blackernai wall with Giustiniani. The other 2 take every AT-4 rocket, every remaining grenade, and sprint south along the inner wall walk. 2 kilometers, 12 minutes. They arrive gasping to find exactly what they feared. 200 Byzantine defenders stretched across 400 meters of wall, exhausted, low on arrows, some without weapons sharp enough to matter. 8,000 Janissaries 150 meters away. The first AT-4 rocket fires into the center of the Ottoman column. The formation shatters, men diving left and right, ladders dropping, the disciplined advance collapsing into chaos in 5 seconds. The second AT-4 hits the column's rear before it can reorganize. Men drop ladders and grab their ears. The column's rear walks into the front before anyone can stop. The advance stalls. For 11 minutes, 2 operators hold 8,000 Janissaries at the wall with rockets, grenades, and suppressed rifle fire. Byzantine defenders around them fight harder than they have in weeks. Then, the rockets run out. 6 AT, 4 rounds. Gone. 40 minutes of ammunition for the M249s remaining. They brought enough for a 12-hour mission. They're 4 hours in and already at 30%. The math is turning ugly. At 2:41 a.m., Giustiniani takes an arrow through a gap in his armor. The Genoese see him go down and start pulling back from the wall. In history, this is the moment Constantinople falls. The team medic reaches Giustiniani in 90 seconds. Field dressing, tourniquet, a shot of morphine that has no business existing in the 15th century. Giustiniani is back on his feet in 4 minutes, pale, furious, and very much alive. He grabs the wall and starts shouting at his men in Genoese. They stop retreating, but 2 kilometers south, the ammunition is nearly gone. The Byzantine garrison is wavering, and 8,000 Janissaries are regrouping for another push. The team leader looks at his remaining rounds, looks at the wall, and makes the calculation every Special Forces commander eventually has to make. They can hold one section, not both. Something has to give. And whatever gives next will decide whether Constantinople sees the sunrise. 3:14 a.m. The wall is still standing, but just barely. The 2 southern operators are down to their last 30 rounds each. No more rockets. 2 grenades left between them. 8,000 Janissaries regrouping 60 meters away. Close enough that through night vision, you can see individual faces. What happens in the next 40 minutes isn't a battle. It's an equation. 4 operators, roughly 160 rounds of rifle ammunition combined, 400 meters of wall, 200 exhausted Byzantine defenders who've never seen a suppressed weapon, never heard a grenade detonate at close range, and never fought alongside soldiers who can see perfectly in total darkness. The Janissaries advance for the 3rd time. The operators don't shoot at the mass, they shoot at the commanders. Every officer who raises a sword to direct the advance drops before the order leaves his mouth. Every ladder carrier who reaches the wall base gets a single round through center mass before the ladder touches stone. Every gap that opens in the Byzantine line gets sealed with a grenade that sends the Ottoman assault party scrambling backward. It's not overwhelming force, it's surgical, precise, invisible. And to 8,000 Janissaries in 1453, it feels like the wall itself is killing them. By 4 a.m., the Ottoman assault has stalled completely for the 3rd time. Sector commanders send runners back to Mehmed with the same message. The southern wall won't break. Something is defending it that we can't see, can't flank, and can't exhaust. Mehmed receives the last runner at 4:12 a.m. He stands outside his tent in the dark, looking at the walls of Constantinople, glowing faintly with torch fire. 53 days. The largest cannon ever built. 126 ships, 80,000 men. And the city is still there. He calls it off. The drums change rhythm. 3 short beats, 1 long. Every Ottoman soldier on the line knows that signal. The Janissaries disengage in disciplined silence, carrying their dead and wounded, and dissolve back into the pre-dawn darkness as the first gray light touches the Bosphorus. Constantinople has survived the night. So who wins? The city does. But not cleanly, and not permanently. The ODA has bought Constantinople time. Maybe days, maybe weeks. The Great Bombard is destroyed. The Janissary assault has failed twice in a single night. Mehmed's timeline is broken. But here's the reality. 12 men can't hold a city forever. They're 600 years from the nearest forward operating base. No resupply, no extraction, no reinforcements. And Mehmed still has 80,000 men and all the time in the world. He'll rebuild his artillery. He'll probe every section of the wall until he finds the one the ODA can't cover. The team has ammunition for maybe one more night like this. What the ODA actually changes isn't the outcome, it's the timeline. And the timeline matters enormously, because every day Constantinople survives is another day a relief fleet from Venice or Genoa could arrive. Another day the Byzantine emperor can send desperate messages to every Christian kingdom in Europe. Another day history has a chance to go a different way. Does it? That depends on whether Europe was ever actually going to answer. History says it wasn't. But history didn't account for 12 men with night vision and a medic who just saved the one commander capable of holding the Blackerneye Wall. So what do you think? Could 12 Green Berets actually save Constantinople? Or does Mehmed find the gap eventually, and history plays out exactly the way it always did? Drop it in the comments. This one genuinely doesn't have a clean answer.